Alright, here we are again with the GoPro Hero 5. We've made some progress. We got this latch completely disassembled, and I did my best scraping it with this tool and using the old isopropyl alcohol and even some sandpaper. Just using some sandpaper there. And I was able to get most of the corrosion off of there, and then I sprayed it with some whatever this is, MX3 inox something. It's a multi-purpose lubricant. I found this recently. It's different than deoxit, which I usually use for a lot of things. I figured I'd give it a try in this situation, and so that's kind of just soaking in there. And then I went to work on the other one, which was even more corroded. And I used pretty much the same method where, you just gotta kind of pry this thing to this way, and I just was gentle with it. And I soaked it in alcohol and stuff first too, and shot it with the lubricant, and tried to, free it up as much as I could. But eventually I just had to kind of hold it with these pliers and just manually force it out. And so it came off, just slid out like that, and then there was another one of these little metal clips right here, and a tiny screw. I've already taken it apart, so the tiny screw is safely hidden away where I won't lose it. And then this thing comes off, and then there's the button that comes off too. So completely comes apart. And so I started cleaning this thing. This had a lot of corrosion in it. I started scraping it out. And then I realized, a little something more about what actually goes on here. If you can look at it, maybe you could see that, in the other case, it was so completely white with corrosion that I didn't even realize until I saw this one that it's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be this coating. I'm guessing this is. The part is made from cast aluminum, and then it has a paint, some kind of thin layer of paint that waterproofs it, because cast aluminum, as we can see here, it corrodes readily just in the atmosphere, let alone water, let alone salt water. So there's just this thin layer of paint between the salt water and cast aluminum, which it's going to just immediately react with and create big fluffy clouds of corrosion. So I'm not sure what to do. I gotta scrape this all out, this puffed up area of the paint. I gotta scrape this all down basically to the bare cast aluminum, and then I coat it with that spray or whatever. But I'm thinking, like, is there some sort of super thin paint that I can put on it to restore that? That paint layer. I don't know. This is kind of. I don't usually do stuff like this. I'm usually just more concerned about electronics. But hey, it's part of it. You gotta clean up the door latches and stuff. So, well, that's where that is. I think at the very least, I'm just gonna be able to get this nice and clean, get everything as clean as possible, and lubed up and everything, and then put it all back together. And at least I'll be able to open and close the door latches. And I don't know if I'm gonna feel safe to take it underwater, to be honest. I think they make like an even a better enclosure that you can put this thing in that would really keep it watertight. So maybe if you're gonna go underwater with it, just use that or something, because otherwise you got to clean it out every time afterwards. It's eventually something bad's gonna happen from taking it underwater, I guess. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel here. Oh, and you may have noticed I'm wearing gloves now. I couldn't help but notice in the last videos, I was like, oh man, my fingers are looking pretty beat up, and that is a kind of a thing that happens in this trade when you're working with your hands a lot, and you're working with, dirty old pieces of e-waste that you're trying to take apart, and, gloves. I just hate wearing gloves, and so I just don't wear them as often as I should, even when I'm kind of really abusing my fingertips. And that's how they get. And it takes, you gotta moisturize and deep clean, and just you gotta be nice to your fingertips for a while for them to actually come back to normal from the extensive amount of damage that we got there. So I'm gonna try my best to be wearing gloves from now on, when I do, at least, especially when I'm doing kind of dirty work with the fingertips. All right, well, that's a wrap on this. Maybe I'll do one more video when it's all put back together. And yeah, have a nice day. See ya.